when you look at the civilian institutions as they are today, if, for example, in the Senate, you have 20 people battling corruption cases within the EFCC, and they are able to gather the consensus of 100 senators to protect their own group of 20, how then are you able to make progress? Because you see the same thing going across all the branches of government, even within the NBA, for example.
That's the point. That's why I was saying that the moral reality. There was a time in this country when honest people were respected. Today, what the society, my brother was saying it, yes, the society is that it is money. Now, the last few years, with you could see that the funds, the display and the rundown of values are beginning to come to be curbed a bit. It's coming a bit. The funds are no longer there just to throw away like that. That's what we're talking about. When you begin to flock and close some of these outlets, we will finally get to those that are in this thing. In the Senate, for example, if a senator, if it is obvious that a senator is corrupt, right from the constituency to the public, gradually the senator will start being ashamed of himself or herself, or the rep or the minister, and gradually we begin to...
We're going to have to, unfortunately, we have to close the conversation there due to lack of time. But I just want to thank you for coming on the program. With us has been two senior advocates of Nigeria, Jibrin Okutepa and Dr. Paul Ananaba. And with that, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.
Well, yes, indeed, we do have so much comments coming from you out there. So let's see how much of that we can take. Well, yes, we'll allow some of them just scroll at the bottom of the screen, as you may see. But let's even talk about the others who may not have theirs scrolled, as you could also see there. For instance, we have Sheriff who is saying, look, to make Nigeria great, there should be a massive value system change in every home. He goes on to say we need a lot of value education in order to change the mindset in terms of how corruption should be fought.
Also, Dan Dollars is also tweeting at us, saying that any government that wants to sincerely fight corruption should start from our civil service, clean up the civil service of corrupt elements. That's what Dan Dollars is tweeting.
Well, Sade A is saying, in line with the other tweets that are scrolling, says, in my opinion, government is flying this corruption kite again because it's election eve. Government needs to build capacity, and its actions in fighting corruption should be more vigorous. We're tired of this noise.
Well, Israel here says, Israel Bala says, look, beyond government making this list public, what exactly has government done to strengthen institutions, list or not? Because he says, at the moment, it does appear as though these individuals appear stronger than institutions. So he rather wants to see us lay emphasis on making the institutions stronger, far stronger than individuals.
And then Shade A goes to tweet at us, saying that, in my opinion, government is flying this corruption kite again because it's election eve. Government needs to build capacity, and its actions in fighting corruption should be more vigorous. And we're tired of this noise, she says.
I guess I took that tweet again already earlier. But let me just take this on. Tunde Agomati says, release of this lopsided, albeit belated list is a purely partisan pursuit and underscores total breakdown of Nigeria's democratic experiment. Time to get going on restructuring the polity. That's from Tunde Agomati.
Well, I see several others are saying, well, much as they may agree or disagree with some of the guests, they just want to see that the list cuts across board. And now that they publish a list, they want to see the next step, which is prosecution. And
then see to a conclusive end.
To a conclusive end. So that's going to be very interesting in the context of the fact that where the wheels of justice grind slowly. Even lawyers themselves, the judiciary...
It's a major concern for a lot of people.
They've talked about reforms in the judiciary for as much as I can remember, almost forever. You know, so although we have the administration and criminal justice system, but it's still going on. So the jury is still out there, more response still coming through. We appreciate all of you. And thank you for watching. We wish you a happy Easter. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
I'm Gimba Umar.
I'm Neota Igbe.
Have a great end of the holiday, everybody. I'm Ajuri Ngilale.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.